you go.
Yeah.
Tell you what, let's do this.
Okay.
Do a little dance here.
See?
Come right up on the table.
Oh, because I'm sure
But the thing was the cable.
it wasn't, and I wouldn't have seen that wheel, so sorry.
All right. I think just.
That's fine. All right, well, good morning, you wonderful souls. As Tom mentioned, my name is Erin, and I have been a nurse here in the Denton County area providing community support for more years than I'd like to admit, but yeah, we're a little over 20. This is a very personal disease. For me, it was my grandmother who was a nurse, and she's the reason I became a nurse when I wasn't so sure what I wanted to do at 18. And so I had the opportunity through her to go to school, and here I am all these years later. She was diagnosed when I was still working in ICU at the time, and all these years later, I became a part of a group called Stepping Stones Denton, which was formed here about 18 years ago, doing dementia support and education for our community because there was none. Because like you said, most people shun it, put it to the side, and they don't want to talk about it, the families included. So out of that group, it became the genesis of Dementia Friendly Denton County. And we are part of an organization, Dementia Friendly America, which started in 2015 to look at the needs of our community and to encourage the businesses in different sectors that these folks who struggle with cognitive impairment and their care partners, their families, their friends, deserve to have engagement, deserve to have support in the community and not feel so isolated. So this is our committee. We do now have a bigger committee. Thank goodness. This is when we first started out. You can see Tanya and I and a few others there, represented throughout the senior care community, really. As the aging population increases, the number of people living with dementia or Alzheimer's simultaneously surges. Obviously, look how big Denton County's grown in the 20 years I've been here. And I live outside of Denton, just outside. I'm one of your suburbs, I consider now, in Crossroads, but it's just really grown. So obviously, the population's going to grow with it. And here's the deal: is what we identified 5 years ago, right before the pandemic. The pandemic slowed us down a little bit. Is that Denton County was not ready. Denton County was not prepared to handle the growth of those folks living with some form of cognitive impairment. So while people with dementia may eventually become homebound or live in memory care facilities, assisted living, skilled nursing throughout our county, most of their first years are spent living in the community, visiting stores, visiting banks, churches, restaurants. Most public entities do not understand how to cater to the needs of a patron with dementia. And so one of our goals and focuses, as you're going to see, is that we come into and work with these different sectors of business to educate, to provide resources, and to make sure that those struggling with this cognitive impairment, and I'm going to get into statistics here pretty quick, is supported, and they feel like they can be a part of the community. Like you said, in the early 90s when my grandmother was diagnosed, they called it organic brain syndrome. It wasn't even called Alzheimer's disease. Alzheimer's disease has been around for a long time, but they really didn't know how to diagnose people with cognitive impairment because they don't know how it starts. And we're not a whole lot ahead of that yet still, but we're getting better. Statistics, these are from 2021. Alzheimer's disease affects about 6.2 million Americans of all ages. The earliest person here in North Texas I took care of, 19 years old. So it can happen. Approximately 400,000 of them are Texans. And I'll be honest with you, that statistic is higher now in 24. Alzheimer's disease has its economic burden of an estimated $355 billion annually. It is the 6th leading cause of death in the U.S. It was pushed to 7th for a short time during the pandemic, but now we're back at number 6. And in the state of Texas, you're going to see that we are the 2nd in the state or in the nation for the number of Alzheimer's disease cases. We're 4th in the number of deaths related. Sorry. And these statistics are scary. And if you look at the room, including our high schoolers, 6 out of 10 will have some form of cognitive impairment. Whether it's Alzheimer's, Lewy body, frontal temporal dementia, Parkinsonian related, diabetics related, there's 120 terms, and we'll get into that. So what can we do? We, as Dementia Friendly Denton County, who is now a nonprofit for the last several years, our vision is a Denton County, where those community, where we can assist our community with training and guidance to better serve the needs of those who live with dementia and their care partners. Our mission statement is Dementia Friendly Denton County assist our community with training, like we're doing today, a lot of intensive training also, and guidance to better serve the needs of those living with dementia and their care partners. So why be a dementia friendly city? And by the way, in the state of Texas, Denton was number 7. We ended up getting our certificate number 7 a couple of years ago. So we were proud to be that way and get Denton County on the map of being a dementia friendly city. So there are more than 120 types of dementia for which there is currently no cure. I sit on the Alzheimer's Association board for Greater Dallas. It is who a lot of our support and information and research comes through. And the truth of the matter, even in 2024, there is no cure. There are medicines you may stave it off some and help manage some of the earlier symptoms that people go through, but the truth is there is no cure. So this is where I get 6 and 10. More than 60% of the individuals living with dementia live in your neighborhood, and they use your businesses and services in your community. Caregivers, okay. So these folks, if we can do the support, if we can educate and work with businesses on how to maybe communicate a little easier with someone with dementia, or how to provide certain programs and services for those who struggle with cognitive impairment, then we can keep them included in our society longer, which then benefits you as a business or as a partner with us to keep them engaged financially in your business. Unfortunately, what we see as a caregiver, that they often pass faster than those living with dementia. And what do you want to say? The stress of it, of loving that one person with the dementia or Alzheimer's, the day-to-day in and out care as it progresses tends to be more stressful, and they don't focus on their care in order to provide care for their loved ones. So we need your support to make Denton County safer for those suffering with this disease and to educate the public on how to interact with them.
Erin,
Yes, sir.
that first sentence there is kind of odd
Go back.
to think about it.
Okay.
Caregivers are dying faster than
Yeah,
those living with them?
because of the stress. Okay. So, do we have the statistics in here about the women?
I don't think so, no.
So, women 86% of the time are being diagnosed with Alzheimer's or a cognitive impairment. But when we are not, we're also the caregiver for someone who has the disease. So caregivers, whether it's husband or female, just females tend to be the caregiver.
Meaning the in-home caregiver.
Yeah, in-home, yeah, the family-driven caregiver. Yeah, the family-driven caregiver are friends. But if you're that one-on-one person and my spouse is living with cognitive impairment, as they continue to progress down their journey of that disease process, then I'm having to do more. I'm having to help structure their day, make sure they're eating, make sure they get their and then there's interruptions in sleep and interruptions in behavior sometimes. And so the stress of that tends to wear on the caregiver. And the caregiver will tend to not survive past the spouse or loved one with the disease. And there is a ton of statistics behind that. And I'm sorry, this is not that kind of lecture. This is more about dementia friendly, but I could get to one. So Why are dementia-friendly communities important? They are vital to helping people with dementia live well and remain in and be a part of that community. Too many people affected feel forgotten by society and tend to withdraw. And that's our normal brain. We have a caveman brain. We fight or we flight or we freeze. So with cognitive changes, which is a global affect to our brain, we tend to withdraw because I don't want you seeing that I am having problems. But if you knew how to serve me here at Rudy's and understand the overwhelming noise or things like that may be disrupted to me, but I would really love to go out and eat barbecue because I'm a good Texas girl and I love barbecue. Maybe you were trained to go, hey, I'm kind of picking up that this is an issue for this person and their family. Maybe I'll suggest they sit over here in a quieter corner. You know, those kinds of things. So too many people feel affected and they tend to feel forgotten and they tend to withdraw. Why are they important? More than a third of the people with dementia feel lonely and secluded. More than 25% of their caregivers feel cut off from society. And the program we have at Stepping Stones Denton, that's where the genesis of Dementia Friendly came from. It is a co-commitment and support group. It is an activity-based support group with occupational therapy students out of TWU and music therapy students, and they do activities while we have their care partners over here with me, a psychologist, and a social worker supporting them. And what we hear more than not is they just don't feel they can go out to the movies. They don't feel they can get to a church service. They don't feel they can even go shopping because of at whatever stage their loved one's at. So they feel that they get really isolated from society. So what do? We offer education services and workshops. We work to enhance the lives of people living with dementia and their care partners. We provide information and referrals available for care in persons living with dementia. And how do we do it? We do encouragement and support for the caregivers. We have a website. We have trainings all the time with different folks. We have a list of support groups. We have training modules for every sector of business. We've been working with banks and financing. We've been working with churches. We definitely work with restaurants because those are the top three that most folks are still wanting to be a part of. Grocery stores are a little different. We haven't really broke into that sector yet, but we're working on it. Development of better services for persons living with dementia and their care partners. Some of that, if you have not heard or gone to our website and looked us up ahead of time with me speaking here today, through the Parks and Rec system here in Denton, Flower Mound, Carrollton, and Louisville, right now, Tanya was at it yesterday, we're doing these nature walks because it is a very immersive experience with a master naturalist to have this hour-long event outside through the different parks here in Denton when we did that. And we started that here 2 years ago, and now we've spread it throughout the county. We were the only chapter in the nation to do that, and now they're wanting to copy our program. But those kinds of services, activities that they can go be a part of. We have a theater that we're working with to see if we can do an amended program that someone with dementia could participate in. So yes, businesses, yes, all the needs and services that they need to utilize, but also other things so they can feel fulfilled and be engaged. It's very important. Subtle changes can make a big difference. I'm sure you noticed how this presentation changed from being bright and colorful to a more simple format, making it more pleasing and easy with someone with cognitive impairment and dementia. That bright, loud color gets overwhelming after a while, so sometimes we have to adjust that. Who can help? Everybody here. Just being aware, being a little bit educated about the struggle, and that the tsunami of diagnosis for cognitive impairment by 2050 is just continuing to explode. And the young ones, just know that if you go through family members or someone in your family, there is a ton of support now that there didn't used to be. And we're trying to do support groups for younger, like high school or college kids, because they experience this very different than my age group would. I'm a daughter with a 92-year-old dad who struggles with this. So everyone can help. We all have a part to play in creating communities where people with dementia feel active, engaged, and valued. And at the core of who you are as a human, isn't that what you want? I know that's what Kiwanis wants. I know that's what Dementia Friendly Denton County wants. We want to help people feel active, engaged, and valued. So join us. This is when we first launched a couple of years ago. Mayor Hudspeth was definitely one of our biggest cheerleaders. We met from him day one and said, this is what we want to do. He has a personal story and he's like, let's go for it. So help us spread the word about the Dementia Friendly Denton County initiative. And are there any questions? Yes, sir.
You mentioned working with churches. What are some suggestions you would have for churches?
Well, we have a church right now. One of the church, we work with 2 so far. The idea is when we talk to them, it's about, think about having a shorter service, maybe more music. So Cumberland Presbyterian was our first dementia friendly service. They do a separate service once a month. They televise it on YouTube. All the assisted livings and skilled nursings and all across the county can watch it. They'll say a shout out to that person if they know they're watching. But in the church itself, it's a wonderful community. We've been there. We just celebrated our 2nd anniversary.
I think it's a year and a half now.
Year and a half, okay. But Pastor Dusty over there, they do, it's about a 20-minute service. It's a lot of music and hymns, which memory, music, poetry is right-sided brain activity that stays intact the longest. And we remember those old school nursery rhymes and hymns, excuse me, so much longer. So that's some of the things we talk to churches about, is consider, a shorter sermon, a little bit more music engaged, maybe do a separate service away from your bigger congregation. But yeah, there's a lot of ideas there. Yes, ma'am.
Just wanted to add that is exactly what we do and what we want from you is if you have a church and you want to have a dementia-friendly service, we will come in and train you for free on how to do it. So we can teach you exactly what you need to know, and we do it in the way that you prefer. So we look at what you already have set up and then come in and help you to
Right.
Is there anything about how we should interact with folks?
Well, that would be part of the education. If you said, hey, I'd love to talk to you guys about it. So either one of the trainers or Dr. Michelle, one of us would work with, let's talk about communication with folks with dementia, because that's important, right? Especially if they're struggling and they're going, approach, public space, personal space, intimate space, how to talk to them, how to work with them, how to redirect if you're needing to. But all of that is part of the education that we're trying to do for any business or any support system out there, just to help them get there. And we'll come back. If you need more support, we do that. And Tanya's right. We are a group of volunteers. This is our passion. This is what we want to do. We will absolutely come out and train. We'll come and support your service. We'll put it all over our website. We'll promote it in our newsletters. We'll do all of that. But it is something that, yes, if you're interested, please let us know. Yes, sir.
It seems to me that dementia and Alzheimer's are used sort of interchangeably.
Okay.
I think there's a difference. I certainly don't know what it is.
Okay,
and also,
I think that should be in the slide.
I don't mean to say I was raised. My mom and dad didn't talk to me about this, but I used to think that you didn't die from dementia. Mm-hmm. And now I understand people that's in fact a fatal condition.
So dementia is an umbrella term. It is not a true diagnosis. It is a set of symptoms and signs of things changing in the brain for whatever reason. So, there's the perfect slide that I use when I do brain talks. it's an umbrella. So dementia's written on that umbrella, and it's not a true diagnosis. But you're right. Even medical people. I've been a nurse for 41 years. We interchange that word way too easily, and it's confusing. But there's about 120 diagnoses under that umbrella. Alzheimer's dementia is one. That's where plaques and tangles in the brain tissue itself, the tau, is seen, and they can't see that unless they do PET scans, and it used to only be post-mortem, but now we can do PET scans, and we can see the changes in the brain. There's vascular changes, there's frontotemporal, which is the frontal part of the brain is being affected at a faster pace, and that's your caveman brain, so you lose your filter. Symptoms of that's a little bit different, but a lot of similarities. There's so many. There's Lewy body, which is the covering of the brain. They present just a little bit differently. But it does take neuropsychologists and neurologists and geriatricians to really get those diagnoses based on assessments and consistent. What happens is we don't diagnose it early enough. And so oftentimes, up to 10 years or more, people are struggling with certain things that when the family and them look back, they go, oh, yeah, maybe that was already starting in my 40s, my 50s, and I was able to accommodate it so I didn't have to deal with it. And it is a fail. One of the things I will say, if we call that disease what it is brain failure. Just like heart failure, just like kidney failure, just like liver, it is a major organ that is failing for whatever the etiology is, whether it's vascular or plaques and tangles or it's the Lewy body or whatever, it is failure. So yes, you do die with Alzheimer's and cognitive impairments, and you probably have comorbidities of other things going on. Yes, sir.
Is the dementia somewhat self-induced by the physical things that we do with our bodies?
Well, there's a huge genetic component. There's two big genes to pay attention to, ApoE3 and ApoE4, and unfortunately I don't have the slide, but so there is a genetic component. But absolutely, the one thing that the Alzheimer's Association recommends is paying attention to lifestyle. You know, don't drink too much, don't smoke too much, try to get decent cardiovascular exercise or movement in, and sometimes just resistant training of movement. Pay attention to how much sugar and diet. They're really saying the Blue Zone diet and a blend of that and the DASH diet, which is a diet to control hypertension, keep your blood pressure under control. So we can do things to stave off the symptoms and the early presentation of it. Unfortunately, genetics is a part of our family. We may not be able to stop it, but there's always that chance. And I would always say there's hope. Yes, sir.
I'm 86 years old.
Yes, sir.
86 or 87, I think. But sometimes I forget my street address. If I find that I'm in a dementia friendly community, would it help me if I moved out of that community to get away from the people that are receptive to dementia?
Nope. It won't help you at all. You're still at risk. You still have your normal risk as you age, as your family background. But the whole point of Dementia Friendly as a community is to be assistive. So, you know, we have cards that people can carry in their wallet to say, hey, I may have some issues with forgetfulness. So if you find yourself lost, and I'm not talking about you, but that has happened, and that's happened here in Denton, more than you guys realize, is they can pull that card out and somebody can help them. That's one way. We've worked with the police department a lot over the last couple of years because there has been situations where they came into a situation where someone was laying down on the sidewalk and not going to get up, by God, but it was 108 out that day. Partner is screaming, they cuffed the partner, put her in the patrol car, and we're like, no, let's talk about this situation. So we've worked with the city, we've worked with the police department, EMS, to just think about easier approaches and how to identify pretty rapidly who's struggling. And it's a good service. Yes, sir.
So comparatively, we're getting county, we're good.
Yeah.
Tarrant County, Dallas.
Tarrant County has, okay, so Tarrant County helped us get us going. They have a huge dementia-friendly support group over there. They have a church that took them under their wings and they fund them, and they do a lot of online support, and anybody in the state of Texas can go and do those activities and things like that. They've done a lot of education. They were a few years, they started in 15, I want to say they were like 17, 18, and we started like 19.
So for example, Wise County or Cook County, are they more?
No, I don't know that they have it. I haven't heard that. San Antonio, Fort Worth, Dallas, Plano doesn't have it. And honestly, a lot of the chapters look at just cities. And we started with Denton, but we wanted to cover all of Denton County because there was such a need for it. So I do not know about Wise and them. I haven't.
So you
Tell
can
them about
go
the website where they
there,
can go look.
Okay.
you could educate someone in those counties, though, correct?
Yeah, we'd be glad to go help them. If they want to start a chapter, and we have some board members that live up around Grayson and Wise County. And we have a website. There's a lot of information on our website. There's resources, what the DFA is, which is Dementia Friendly America. We have some handouts. I brought some handouts. I don't have a ton, but I brought some. If you want to grab some of those. Our contact numbers are up here. Please put them in your phones and say, hey, this is so-and-so with Kiwanis. I saw you talk. We'd be glad to help you. But thank you for having us.
I have one thing before you end.
Okay.
Just so you guys know, we are looking for people to partner with to do our training, and we also are looking for money. So we have 2 events coming up.
Oh,
We'd
yes.
love you to come to. We have a charity luncheon on May 9th at Cartwright's on the Square. It's from 11 to 1:30, and they're going to donate back. I believe it's 10% of the proceeds to us that day. We are having some people that have dementia come to that luncheon so that we can show people that just because you have a diagnosis does not mean that your life is over. You can still function, you can still do things. So
And
an
it's
incredible
not
opportunity.
scary for you young
It's not.
ones. It's not scary for the public to have someone help you or be around you.
Second event is on the 24th of May. It is from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. It is a mixology showdown, and it is at Anderson.
Yeah.
So we love for you guys to come. You do have to be 21 because it is alcoholic beverages. We're going to all vote on the best bartender who comes up
Oh,
with the
I'm
best
so
drink.
sad. I missed
2
that.
events that we would love to have you come to. If you have any questions, you can go to the website to find out more or contact me.
I have one question real quick before.
Sure.
So, I'm on the committee for people with disabilities.
Mhm.
And are you working with the city on training? Like, we're building a brand new library and they're making sure that the carpets are correct, that they don't have patterns in them for certain people. And
awesome.
ramps. But are we talking about that, where there's a safe place?
Well,
a
we
person
probably
to-
need to get to the libraries. We have done some in the
We've
libraries.
been in the
very-
libraries, but doing this presentation, not training.
I started to say
Okay.
very early on we were, but not this one. Yeah, we
But
haven't.
we
done
have
this.
trained the city, we've trained the senior center, we've trained the
Yeah.
whole city, because they taped it so that they could put it for their education so people could review.
We've done the,
But we do
the
need-
entire
that's a good
state of
point.
Texas Parks and Rec
The
system.
new ones that are being built need to have that
Can
in
you
it.
connect us?
Yes.
Yeah, if you'll connect us, that'd be great. That's what this is all about, right? Community taking care
I
of
mean, we're looking at
community.
everything,
I'm
but I
here
didn't
for
hear
it.
this in the
So
presentation.
at the city council meeting last night, I knew I had to call Erin to remind her, or I thought I needed to call and remind. So I kept making notes on my notebook. Call Erin. And I turned the page. Call Erin. And I never could get to a place where I could call, so I texted. And then I noticed her last name, and I went, it's Caston or is it Gaston? Do I just write that poorly? Is that the problem? So I thought I had a little touch of dementia last night.
No.
I'm getting better. I've got this coffee mug, but I don't know why. This is our Denton Breakfast Kiwanis coffee mug. It has our name on it. It has our motto, we build, come join us. We'd love to have you come back again. And on the back of the mug, it has a list of the names of our key clubs that we're very, very proud of. All 3 are with us this morning. So I hope you'll take this with you. And when you have a cup of coffee, you'll think of us fondly. Okay?
Thank you very much.
Erin?